to another episode of the Buffalo Happy Hour. Mike, what's going on?
Derek, I would lead with a dad joke. However, there's a father sitting across from me, so I will not step on his toes. So we are finally sitting down with the couple that has done more for us than a lot of other people. So we'll start with introductions, and then we'll dive right into all the things regarding the business background, because our listeners have seen your work, however, have never seen the face behind the business until today.
Our listeners are even wearing the work, and they don't even know about it. Well, they do, but they just maybe don't pay attention.
Yeah, I mean, they do, but they don't. So we'll start with intros, and then we'll go from there.
Take it away.
I'm Lisa.
And I'm Nick.
Wonderful. And which business do y'all represent?
We represent Queen City Creative Works.
So Queen City Creative Works, for those that are new to our channel, quickly please like, comment, subscribe. Let's drive the likes up on this video to then also help their business as well as our channel. But Queen City Creative Works is essentially a custom family-ran business that has done a lot for us regarding merchandise. Mm-hmm. So you guys want to kind of inform everybody of, from the beginning, what you've done to basically grow the Buffalo Happy Hour as a brand?
Yeah. So really what started it was t-shirts. Derek had reached out to me and said, hey, I know you do t-shirts. We're looking to do our first shirt. Can you guys help us out? And one thing led to another. Derek saw that I had a laser, and I always like taking on challenges. And he's like, "Oh, do you think you can laser engrave a table for us?" I was like, "I've never done it, but let's do it." And next thing I know, I'm sending Snapchats to Derek of my basement being filled with smoke because the table took 11 and a half hours.
Yeah.
11 and a half hours to engrave, and we've gone from tables to tumblers to pretty much anything Derek throws at me or Mike throws at me. Whether I've done it before, I've not done it before, we've done it. You've done most of the shirts. I do the laser and the CNC stuff, but yeah.
So what did you guys start doing? Like, what started the whole Queen City Creative Works aspect?
I'll let Lisa start that because she was the one that really started it.
When I was pregnant with our first son, custom clothes are expensive, so I had the mom Cricut that I haven't touched in a while, so I figured, you know what, may as well try and see what happens. I made a few things, posted it online, and a lot of people were asking if I sold things, so I tried selling things, and it just went good. And after that, I just kept trying new things, and here we are 3 years later.
What was the first thing you made for Landon? Do you remember?
It was a dinosaur onesie. I don't remember what it said, but it had a dinosaur's like
Do you get the idea?
Dynamite or something.
Do you get the ideas from somewhere? Like, are you regularly on Pinterest or some sort of social media that you're like, I like that design, I'm going to do it myself? Or how does that process go?
From other people posting things. It's a mixture of that, Pinterest, Google, things I've seen on Etsy that I've tried to recreate and do. Just try and be different versus buying from somebody when you can easily just do it yourself.
Sure. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's really cool. And for the listeners, Landon is your son. Yes. Just so people understand, like, it wasn't just some random child you saw walking down the street and you're like, I'm going to make you dinosaur onesie. Good deal.
I'm sure any young boy would have loved that, though.
I mean, I would love it now if there was an adult-sized onesie, but we'll talk about that offline. So
we can make that.
Yeah, new idea, Nick. Get on it.
Yeah, seriously. Christmas is coming up. I'm ready. So
Cashmere?
That's fine. Yeah, just let me know what it costs. So, you've seen it here first. That's basically how Queen City and Buffalo Happy Hour have operated from the get-go.
Absolutely.
So, you guys worked with us in regards to the first batch, which the feedback that we still get from people that wear the shirt is still consistent of, that's the most comfortable shirt. And my logo's still in great shape. There's no problems with it. I'm super happy. And then that was a minimum release, as we call it, just to try to make it sound really cool. Basically, we could afford $50 or 50 shirts, and we're like, here's 50 shirts. We'll figure it out, and it worked out really well for us. And it was all because of you guys basically saying yes to being Johnny on the spot. So you started with small equipment, from what we remember, and then it kind of grew into what you have now, which is like insane. So That process has been really cool, but let's talk about the growth in equipment alone, and then we'll kind of dive into your capabilities and how that has flourished from start to today.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel responsible for this because I was really the one that kind of kicked it off. So when Lisa was making things for our son Landon, the way vinyl gets applied to a shirt is with heat. So at the time, since it was just for us, she was cutting it out with a Cricut, a vinyl cutter, and applying it with an iron. And after we had gotten home from like the hospital, we realized that the little pieces were falling off, and I was like, listen, if you're gonna start selling this stuff to people, let's stand behind this and provide a quality product that's gonna last, right? So I jumped on Amazon and I found a heat press, and it was there in 2 days. We ended up returning the first one because I was like, no, this other one's better, like everybody else does, right? You order something from Amazon and you're returning it 2 days later because you found something better. So that's really what kicked it off. Was I got the heat press and it worked great. It made things much faster than an iron. It was way more consistent. Things weren't falling off anymore. It's kind of funny to go back and look at where we started years ago and then just to where we are now. So after that, orders started picking up and she needed help. So when we do orders, we do it at, we work a normal 9 to 5 like everybody else does, and we have 2 kids. So we do it after hours. We're up till 11, 3 a.m. sometimes when I'm working on your guys' stuff. So she needed help, and I started helping, and I was like, I enjoy helping you and spending the time with you, but this really isn't like what I want to do. I've always had a knack for woodworking and, playing with my hands and things like that and getting dirty, and I wanted to get some more power tools. Why not? Every guy wants more tools, right? So I had twisted her arm and told her, I was like, hey, let's use this tax return this year to buy something cool. I said, why don't we start doing, wood signs? So we got a desktop CNC, and it took me a lot longer to learn it than I thought it was going to. Like, I have an IT background, and I'm very fluid with software and stuff like that, and it was just a huge undertaking. Like, things that I thought were going to be simple were not simple. And just learning it from the ground up was a total experience in its own. And from there, I think it was 6 months, and then we were quickly buying the upgrade pack to make the CNC bigger because we were spending too much time on the smaller bed, so we needed to get a bigger one, and that took off. And then
I needed a faster machine for vinyl cutting.
Yep. So she needed a faster machine for vinyl cutting, so we went from a Cricut to a business enterprise grade vinyl plotter, which we did all of your guys' shirts on, which took something that probably would have taken days to cut with a Cricut to a few hours. Weeding's a whole different story, by the way.
Yeah, that's terrible. How long was that transition from the regular Cricut that you started on to upgrading all this equipment? Are we talking about a month, 2 months, 6 months? What was that time frame?
I want to say it was 6 months. What would you think?
It was a long stretch for the vinyl machine because I don't like change, so I didn't want to change the machines. So every time he's like, oh, why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm comfortable with what I have.
Yeah.
But eventually he'll twist my arm in doing it, so then I just learned the whole new machine. So we went from the one vinyl machine to the next. That was probably a year. And then
6 months to a year.
6 months for another vinyl machine, and then wasn't it a few more months for the printer, this illumination printer?
Yeah, so after we got into CNC stuff, we wanted something faster and something longer lasting than vinyl. So vinyl will degrade. It's great for things that are one-off and custom. And hey, I need a shirt tomorrow. We can quickly turn it around. But the shirts you're looking at right now are dye sublimation. Well, not mine, but Lisa's. So it's printed with a regular inkjet printer, but it uses special ink, and then it gets printed on special paper that you then use a heat press as well, and it turns the dye to gas, and it's permanently in the shirt, so it won't wash out. There are limitations to it, like this one. It doesn't really work on color shirts that well, so it has to be a lighter shirt. That's why we do a lot of bleed shirts like that. That way the color comes out. But it works really well. The shirts last, or the image lasts, and
Can you do colored ink?
yes.
In that? Okay.
Yep. The only color we can't do is white, obviously, because you need a $30,000 printer to do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We're not there yet.
So going
Baby
back
steps.
to
Baby steps.
going back to the Cricut machine upgrade, because it seems like more people nowadays are trying to get into Cricut. They're doing these 9-to-5 jobs and they want to figure out how they can make extra money. So I'm seeing people all over Facebook and social media buy new Cricut machines and try to start their own business. But from your standpoint, Lisa, what benefits did this new machine do after you learned it that the Cricut didn't? Because it has to be just more than it's just a bigger machine, right?
It was faster.
Okay.
It cut bigger materials, so you could cut more than just one 12 by 12 square. You could cut 15 by 15 and up to 20 inches wide, was it?
Yeah, it could
So
do.
you could do more than one project at one time instead of just doing one at a time, waiting the 3-4 minutes for it to cut. It would cut out faster than 3 to 4 minutes, and then you have maybe 3 orders done in one shot.
Sure.
Instead of just one here, then you have to take it off, put a new sheet on, and go again, and wait for that one to get done.
So that's how you were able to blow through our shirt so quickly?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I think it took only 2 hours compared to like a Cricut, which would have taken like 10 hours. We looked at how much the cut time would have been. Yeah. So I mean, I definitely recommend to anybody that's at that tipping point of, you know, how much is your time worth? Is it worth a couple $100 to spend on a bigger, more quality machine that's faster, that will make your life a lot easier? I mean, that's really what came into play for us. Was Lisa really didn't want to spend the money on it because she's like, well, I don't want to change what I'm doing because I know it, right? And that's what a lot of people's problem is they're comfortable with where they are, right? And they don't want to endure the change. And I was like, well, you kind of have to, because how can you grow without change, right? And that's where I was like, well, I'll help you through it. I'll learn it first, and then I'll teach you how to do it. That way we're not losing sleep on orders that aren't getting done by just completely, going cold turkey and switching to a new machine. And I highly suggest anybody that's in the same situation where we are was, you're getting lots of orders, but you're not able to keep up with them. And that's where you either need to add a second machine or get something that's a little bit faster and more quality. So that's kind of where that went.
Would you recommend, like, if you had to do it all over and start from the beginning, getting that machine from the start, not knowing if your customers would be there? Or would you recommend kind of the progression that you guys did and learning up to the big machine?
I would say learning up to it, because it's not always for everybody.
No. I would have skipped the Cricut.
Yeah.
100% I would have skipped it. I would have gone straight to the Silhouette if I knew how much faster it went and how much easier it was, for me at least.
Sure. Okay. Good to know.
That's so with all of the, because I feel like there was a lot of R&D in regards to like, well, this machine can do A, B, and C, so let's try A, B, and C, and then we'll just see what this thing's capable of, which is really, really cool. However, is there like 1 to 3 things that you guys have on absolute lock where it's the lead time is almost nil just because it's been so repetitive over the last 3 years, where you're like, this is a joke, like I can do 1,000 of these and it really wouldn't matter? Or is it all still just so custom that it's just is what it is?
We get the repeat customers like you guys and a couple others where, I have your logo, which is extremely detailed, down on lock at this point. And, I can pretty much spit out anything that you guys ask at this point. But there are others. There's been a few companies that have come to us where things need to be reworked, or their logos very detailed, and they want something that's like 2 inches by 2 inches, and I'm like, that's just not possible, right? But we still handle a lot of small requests, a lot of custom one-offs. You do more than I do.
Birthday outfits or holiday shirts for kids, school shirts. So
Lisa will smack me for this one, but I can't tell you how many times it's somebody's birthday, it's a holiday, and we already have a gift, right? And I'm like, wait. Let me whip out the laser, or let me whip out the CNC machine, and we're late, right? Because
I do something before we leave.
Because I came up with something cool before we did it for Easter. I did these carrot name tags with everybody's names on it. My mom likes, I mean, we're all in our 20s and 30s now, right? And my mom still does like an Easter egg hunt, which is awesome because there's like little shots of vodka in them and Tim Hortons cards and things like that. And I was like, well, wouldn't it be cool if we had like Easter egg tags with our names on it? And it was right after we got our new laser, and I had it for like maybe a few days, and I was like, this is gonna be the first thing I do with it. So we were late to Easter, and here's Lisa texting my mother saying, "Oh, hey, guess who's late again because of Nick? Because we had to do something last minute." Yeah. So there's that.
That's wild.
I don't think we actually talked about the new laser. So we recently bought a CO2 laser. So it is a industrial laser cutter and engraver. So before, actually, when we did this table, we had a very, very small diode laser, which was only 7 watts. So your guys' logo, which took us almost 12 hours, probably would have taken like 2 had we had this new machine.
Really?
Yes. And my thing when I was making that decision with the laser was, so the diode laser was a couple $100, and I was like, well, I can attach it to the CNC. That way, I mean, I already have this machine. I don't have to plan for space for something new. I don't have to figure out where it's going to go. I already have it, right? It's just something that I can click on, and it's there, and which is great. So I kind of regret the decision because I wish I would have just gotten the big machine to begin with, because it was super slow. Like, it was great. Like, it got us by, but after a year of it, it just wasn't worth it anymore. And I had made my money. We had made our money back from it, but it was another turning point where I was like, hey, Lisa, you know, we really need to do this. I was like, I want to get into this market. There's a lot more things that we could be doing and we could be putting out, and that if people have asked us for, that we just can't do with what we have right now. And I think we do really well with it. And that's when we ended up getting the bigger laser, which I do not regret at all because I love it.
When it works properly.
Yeah, we just currently went down for a little bit of a maintenance period, but we're back up and running actually as of today.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's probably a sigh of relief for you, right?
Yeah. Do you want to show off what we brought?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have in these bubble wrap things, which were always my favorite, tumblers. So these tumblers have right? They're called tumblers?
Yes.
Yep.
What are they? Yeah. So our logo is engraved on them, which is sick. So this was from the laser that you were able to do this. How difficult is it to do curved objects?
So there was a little reworking and learning with that. So I didn't think, so that image looks symmetrical to you, right? Right, Mike? So it looks like a pure circle. When you look at the actual design of my computer, it's not. It's actually stretched. It's an optical illusion, which is wild, right? Because I set the image to be like 3 inches by 3 inches, and it's really not 3 inches by 3 inches. It's actually 10% wider to give it the illusion that it's a circle, but it's not because of the curvature. But
It's crazy.
But the software is really, really good at handling it all. So there's really not too much learning that I had to do. It was more of trial and error of getting the right settings down to be able to engrave through the powder coating.
Which is that a smoky process?
Actually, believe it or not, it's not.
No?
No,
Okay.
not at all. I can actually so you're not supposed to leave the lid open when you're looking at the laser, but you can, right? Because it's just easier to switch things out of it. But that really doesn't cause too much smoke. It's really when you're doing wood or things like that, which creates a ton of smoke.
So how has your setup changed? Because I know that when you guys first started, it was in a spare bedroom, and now it's not. So you want to talk about the where you guys are now kind of situation?
We missed the spare bedroom.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. The spare bedroom got changed into Tanner's room.
Second son.
Second son. So we had to move to the basement. So we have the CNC downstairs. All my machines are downstairs. And then the laser is currently in the garage.
Yep.
And that thing is sick.
Oh yeah, you've seen it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So with the laser, I was debating whether we put it in the basement or we put it in the garage, and we ended up coming up with the decision to just put it in the garage. It was much easier to just leave it in there than try to get a almost 400-pound machine downstairs.
Yeah, we got to talk about that because when that got delivered, that wasn't like a UPS or FedEx thing.
No, it wasn't.
So let's talk about that piece.
Just an Amazon truck pulls up and it's like, you're here.
It wasn't even an Amazon truck. So when the laser was delivered, and I kind of had an idea about it from like an online Facebook group from the manufacturer. So there was a lot of people saying, oh, there's gonna be a big box truck, something in like, an oversized UPS truck with a lift gate, right? No. So I got a phone call. Hey, it's in Tonawanda right now. It should be here tomorrow. We'll schedule delivery. And I was like, okay, it's a bigger item. And, it's a lot of money. And I'm thinking, big box truck, right? No. Lisa goes, hey, there's a semi truck in front of our house. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, there's an 18-wheeler in front of our house. And I was like, you're kidding me. And she goes, no. Sure enough, I walk outside and there's a legit 18-wheeler in front of our house. And I was like, how did you get down here?
Right.
Like, better yet, how are you getting out of here? Because our side street that connects to us is a very tight turn. Because there's a outdoor hockey rink in front of it, and I'm like, I don't know how you're making this turn.
Those dudes are wizards, but
they are.
They shipped your laser LTL.
Yep.
For those that know, like, all the verbiage in that whole world and industry, which is incredibly interesting when it comes to the driver was probably super confused. Like, is this the real address? And they're like, send it. And then he just gets in his truck and starts driving down the road, and then he's looking at the GPS like, seriously, want me to make a right here? Because it's so obnoxious. Because you got, like, you make the right, then you got to make the immediate left.
Yep.
And in a semi, that's got to be a disaster.
Oh, yeah.
So cheers. I don't understand how those dudes get their license, but we need more people driving trucks.
We absolutely do.
Yeah.
So how much does it weigh?
It was about 400 pounds.
Yeah.
I almost asked you for help. I remember I was thinking about it. I was like, well, do I ask the guys to help me get this downstairs?
So that's the
we
thing
would have
is-
died.
Yeah. if you wanted to bring it downstairs, it would have taken a ton of people to do it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 4 people for sure.
Yeah.
Would it even have fit down your stairs?
Yes, because the top of it has a base with wheels, so you can wheel it around. To do larger objects, it actually has a pass-through, so both it has doors on both sides. So I could do something, again, large, like a table like this, which is awesome. But it would have fit through a regular 24-inch door. I've seen people do it. I've heard of people do it. I definitely did not want to do it. And I was like, because then when we go to move, our dreams is to, our next house is to get either a big she shed or, a 2-car garage or something like that, or a nice shed that we can just put everything in and not have to worry about things like this. And, it's just part of, it's part of the growing, right?
Yeah. So how you guys are in an interesting position because you started out cricket, vinyl cutting stuff, and now you're doing that plus a ton more. How have you guys seen like the demographics of your customers change? Like what was it when you guys started, and what is it like now?
I'll let you take that one.
It used to
I've
be.
done a lot of talking.
It used to be just moms. Now we have realtors coming to us for signs for customers.
Small businesses.
Small businesses are coming to us now. Sometimes they have family reunions. They'll come to us for shirts, and we did, I think it was like 150 or 200 shirts last year for somebody. Somebody was coming out of a hospital, and they were throwing this big ordeal. So we had 200 shirts we had to get done for them.
I was like, remember, it was like a 3-day lead time.
Yeah.
Did not sleep those days at all. There's a lot of coffee consumed.
I mean, to be fair, it's better than 7 hours for a seating chart for a wedding. We'll talk about that later. So you basically have an array of all people needing all things. Okay.
Yeah, so we can kind of elaborate on that. So when we were thinking of a company name, we had gone back and forth, and we wanted to stay with like the Buffalo theme, right? Like you guys. And I was really stuck on Queen City, and we were going back with like Queen City shirts or Queen City whatever. And then I can't take any credit for this at all. At the time I was talking to a designer that I worked with, and I was like, hey, what do you think of a company name? And she's like, well, based off of everything you guys do, you don't want to put yourself in a corner and then be stuck with something, right? So that's where Creative Works really came into it, because we don't just do one thing, right? There's many facets of the business that we can do. We can do coasters, we can do signs, we can do drinkware, we can do apparel, we can do hats.
Tree ornaments.
Tree ornaments, yep.
Yep.
pretty much anything anybody has thrown at us, for the most part, we've been able to do it. We're currently working on, I guess we can talk about it now, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're working on a layered 3D backlit LED sign for you guys for the studio. It's taking a little bit longer than I want to, but, you know, it's worth it. It'll be worth it.
It's going to be sweet, and we're super excited for it, because that's going to be one of the staples that's in basically every episode that people will see. So that's going to be really cool.
We're going to go right there.
Yeah, right above the... We'll rework some things on this wall for the ones that whiskey reviews, but yeah, it'll be prominent. So it's the whole thing is just really crazy because there's stuff that's come up, and it's like, can Nick do this? Like, could Lisa print this? Like, that's the first thought, and then it's like they never say no. So is it possible? And then it comes back, yeah, that coaster sticks, and then it comes back with like, well, screw it, we'll try it. And then all of a sudden it's, you know, like 2 days later, and it's like, dude, we can, like, this works, like, we could do this. And then all of a sudden it's just like back and forth on minor critiques, and then like the finished product's there, and you're just staring at it like, this is ridiculous. Like, I just don't understand how 95% of the stuff comes through. And then that's the actual reaction. Like, we just laughed, and we're just like, sweet, like, let's just make something else, because this is like scrap from another project, and why waste it? So we'll just like design something and make it really cool. So in all of that, what's kind of like, not what's next, but what are your ideas that you want to kind of formulate to have something that's consistent that can be just repeat business?
So that's something, well, I guess we can introduce Kevin. So we recently partnered with another logo shop. We met through a social media. We met through Facebook. We both had the same CNC machine. And I happened to post something like Buffalo Bills related or something, and we started talking, and, you know, like, we wanted to collaborate and work together, but we couldn't figure out a way to make both of our businesses grow at the same time. So he decided to quit what he was doing with his personal shop and join us. So Kevin Wickett, we recently brought on, what was that, early June?
Yeah.
So we brought on Kevin in June, and he is our lead designer. So basically anything that Lisa and I can't handle, or things that we have like ideas on, like, hey, we saw this thing, or we have this idea and it would be really great, but we just don't have time to work through it and figure out like how we would execute it, or the best way to do it, whether it's something that we do printing or with laser or CNC, or, you know, whatever it is. And we kind of throw it to Kevin and say, hey, you have the design background, and you have the eye for things that just we don't, right? And that's kind of what Kevin's there for. He also runs our Shopify, so we recently opened Shopify. So we have an official website now, other than just going through Facebook Messenger, which I love. It's so much easier.
What's the website?
It is queencitycreativeworks.com.
Okay.
I like that one. That's easy.
I just wish it was a little shorter.
Yeah.
The QCCW was too short.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to make sure that Kevin was there. He was camera shy. He didn't want to come today. He likes being behind the scenes, which is cool. But yeah, I can't leave Kevin out, because Kevin definitely, he's responsible for almost 95 to 100% of the website. I gave him the idea. I started, and I was like, listen, I just don't have time to do this. I'm doing all the things that we're doing. I'm helping you out. I'm trying to raise 2 kids without neglecting them. I don't neglect them at all. But I just didn't have time for the website. And I was like, listen, if you can take this, he's like, how much control do I have? I was like, listen, just do what you want to do. Show me when you're finished, and then we'll go from there. And he took it away and knocked it out of the park. I would never be able to do half the stuff that he was able to do, and I give him all the credit that's due, because I just can't do it. Not at all.
There's some people that just have it.
Yeah.
And then you see the finished product, and you're just like, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even understand what half of that is.
I mean, I have 10 years in IT, and just website design is not my thing.
No.
It never will be. I have the eye for it and say, yeah, that looks great, but I can't execute it. So
right.
That's what he's there for.
Yeah. There's some people that just do it. It's wild.
So is there anything that you haven't done, or that you want to do, like with a certain design or something? Because you guys are really good at being creative and creating something like this E. Let's talk about this E for a second. It is CNC cut, right?
Laser cut.
Laser cut? Okay, so how do you make that?
Laser.
So this is actually, I don't know if the camera will be able to see it, but it is multiple layers.
Oh, it'll see it, bro. 4K.
So there are 5 layers on this one. So this was designed for Tanner's room. I can't take the credit for this because I paid for the design. But I wanted to do a nursery name sign above the crib. And the theme for Tanner's room is obviously dinosaurs. And I knew I wanted to do something laser-based. And I saw this and I was like, this is great. I can do all the letters of his name in different layers and really show off, the kind of detail that we can put out, other than just like a tumbler.
Sure.
Not that a tumbler. I'm not trying to downplay a tumbler, but nursery signs and baby and nursery things really sell really well for us. So this was kind of like a big thing for me because it was it was difficult. The painting was difficult. I see things that people are able to paint, and I'm just not as talented with painting as I'd like to be. And I was really happy with how it came out.
So what it's a design, and it's just like layers on top of layers of different parts of the design to make one whole picture.
Yeah. So the background of the E is a full E, and then each layer behind it is also a full E up until the front, like the black outline that you see. That is the least amount of it. But there's as the dinosaur builds, each layer builds on itself.
Sure.
To give it that depth and that perception that you see, which is really cool.
Is the rest of the name a continuation of that picture, or is it duplicates of that picture, or what does the rest of the name look like?
There's different scenes, so different letters may have different dinosaurs. Like there's one that's got a pterodactyl. Of course, there's a T-Rex. The T has a T-Rex.
Yeah.
It's just we have it off to the side, but the T has a T-Rex, which I thought was cool. And I actually did a lot of Google research. I was like, what color is a T-Rex, right? Is it green? Is it brown? Nobody knows, right? Nobody knows. It was millions and millions of years ago, right? So here's my 3-year-old schooling me on what color a T-Rex was. And it was cool because I actually had the ability to do some learning with him, right?
And fact check him.
Yeah, because I was like...
Listen here, son, you're wrong.
I was like, hey, because we were going through it, and he's like, oh, that's a Triceratops. And I was like, are you sure that's not a Spinosaurus? He's like, no, that's a Triceratops. And it was funny because we were hanging out with the next door neighbors yesterday. And we were actually talking about this, and their son's 2 weeks younger than ours. And it was just incredible how much knowledge they have. And I was like, hey, what kind of dinosaur is this? Oh, that's a Bronchiosaurus. And I was like, watch, I'm going to be wrong, and somebody's going to fact check me.
Right.
But it was cool because it was a project between the two of us, and I had asked him for input, like, hey, what color should I paint your brother's dinosaurs? And it was cool because I don't like to do the project during the day with the kids, but it's also cool because when I am doing something that needs to get done, like Mike's projects, I'm able to bond with my oldest, right? And he likes helping. He's helped us drywall. What 3-year-old do you know that can do drywall?
Right. We can't even do drywall, clearly.
That would be correct. That would be correct. It's a process. But yeah, speaking on my fiasco of an issue, which we should dive into because it really does pay credit to what you guys are capable of and actually work really hard on. This sign is somewhat similar. So we should hold that up and then show people. So we'll talk about what this actually is, and then we'll dive into my fiasco of a project. But way to go, Nick.
Nailed it.
Way to go. So,
Literally.
So this says, we said yes to the address. If anything is cut out of the angle, I don't know, Derek's noggin's
Literally, no, you're good. But until right now, I thought that said we said yes to the address.
Well,
no address.
They would literally get sued in 0.04 seconds by TLC, so that's not going to happen. Lisa and I know all about that, Derek.
Do they have that trademarked?
It's a major TV show. Of course it's trademarked.
But I don't know if they have the... Can you just phrase mark a phrase?
Phrase mark?
That's what I'm saying. New thing, phrase
Dude,
mark.
Phrase mark probably exists, and if not, we're going to put a patent on it.
Phrase mark this, yeah.
But
let's do it.
Yes to the address.
That has to be. It's
QCCW.
TLC. We say yes to the address has to be or copyrighted something. Either way, it's a lawsuit. It's 2021 USA. Everything's a lawsuit.
Literally.
So this is, what is the actual material of the sign?
So it is, you wouldn't believe me if I told you, but it is white
Well, tell us.
It's whiteboard.
Oh, really?
It's literally whiteboard.
Can
It's
you like
super
draw
light.
on it then?
Yeah, you got a whiteboard marker?
I have chalk markers, so no.
Oh, it's the
That's
best.
a chalkboard back.
There you go. I got chalk markers right there.
Okay, so some of the materials that we use, instead of having to take the time to paint things white, because, time is money, right?
Mhm.
And with the laser, which we weren't able to do before with like a CNC machine or anything else, it's very, very easy to cut through certain things, whiteboard being one of them. So this is whiteboard. There's also a whiteboard chalkboard combo, and they cut really, really well, and they engrave really well. So instead of having to take the time to paint things white, we're able to do things like this and engrave it and cut it out all in one shot. So
That's
it engraves black. The heart is just a little bit deeper. That way I was able to fill it with some paint to give it the red. And then the roof is just regular plywood. And I think all of this took 5 minutes to cut and maybe 20 minutes to engrave.
So what was the point of this? What did you do with this?
So our point was is we work with one realtor fairly often, and we wanted to give it to them because they just they support us so much, and we'd like to offer it on a rental because buying a house is a big thing. We've all been there, right? And props are expensive. Why spend $80, $100 on a prop on Etsy when you're going to use it once? So our idea with things like with this, and we're going to start with this one, we're going to offer rentals on this. A couple dollars for the rental. You bring it back to us, we'll give you the money back for it. And if you don't, then there's your prop for it. And we'd like to do things like that for photographers or realtors or any business that needs like a one-off prop or something like that.
I want one that's the exact replica of my house that says the same thing. And then I can just drop the sign, and then my house is behind it, and it's like a full reveal. And then I'm like holding Colleen.
Now you're going to get trademark lawsuit
Spoiler
from Chip
alert,
and Joanna
that's
Games or
actually-
something.
It'll be a full reveal. We'll combine Queen City with Chip and Joanna. What do you
Nailed
think?
it.
As long as it's not called Magnolia.
Yeah, it won't be. So, speaking on my fiasco, I had a seating chart come in from Utah, split in half. It was 3/4 inch wood, split in half because Ace Ventura delivered it from FedEx, basically. So, hashtag definitely not a sponsor. Although
never be a sponsor.
FedEx is veteran owned. So, anyways, the immediate reaction was, okay, how am I going to convey this to Colleen so that I'm not the victim of her rage? Because we leave for the wedding in 2 days. So how are we going to handle this? And then, again, first thought, can Nick do this? Because, it's wood, there's names, it shouldn't be too hard, right? Kind of a joke, because of course it's very difficult, especially when every name is different except for a couple last names. It was a disaster. So I call you, or I text you, and I was like, emergency. I'm stressing, and then you're like, okay, just I don't know, man. And I was like, dude, I'm coming over. And you're like, that would be best. I'm like, sweet. So shoot over to your house. Luckily, you live 1.3 miles away from me.
Yep.
Back into your driveway, caress your lawn. Fantastic lawn, by the way. Full dad mode. I have to pay respect to the front lawn. And then pop the trunk. We look at it, and you're just like, I don't even know how they did this.
Yep.
Because it was painted, but you could see all the aspects of the letter A, and it made no sense how they did that with a template, because with a template, it would kind of cut out some of that. So we're flabbergasted trying to figure this out, and they're like, how does 3/4 inch piece of wood split in half down the middle perfectly? This dude, did he kick it? I'm like, I don't know. I don't have a ring.
Literally,
Watched
it
it.
should have gotten launched from the back of the semi to the front.
Yeah, the whole thing made no sense. And you're like, okay, I'll work something up. Do you like this kind of material? And I said, yeah, send it. So I got the final grand okay from the wife. So all of a sudden, you guys don't know this part.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
We're packing for Maine the night before, right? So the whole car's packed, and I'm like, okay, we're good to go. And then we go to work the next day, come home, sleep, wake up, go to Maine. That's basically how it went. Well, the day before we were supposed to leave, we get an email and a package from the Etsy shop, and they're like, hey, we're sending you a new seating chart. And a new one showed up like 5 hours before we go to Maine.
Wow.
You already were like, yours is done, pick it up. And I was like, sweet. So I already got it. So now I'm looking at both of these, and I'm like,
which one would you take?
what do I do? I was like, because we've already spent the money on this one. I was like, Nick crushed this. Like, that's all taken care of. I'm like, how do we go about this? And I'm just like, we're bringing both. So we brought both up to Maine, and it barely fit. Because, dude, my everything was jam-packed into my vehicle. So I'm just, like, cruising up like the Griswolds up to Maine. So then I pull them all out, and I'm looking at them. Again, I said not a sponsor, don't sue. So I'm looking at both seating boards, and then I have my wife to my left. I have my mother-in-law to my right. And I'm like, which one do we like? And we're using both. Like, I don't know if we're using one for the rehearsal, so, like, the bridal party can know where they're, like, you know, like, obviously they're all at the head table, but they can kind of, like, push some info out and, like, help us out. And yours was picked because it looked better and it was easier to read. Because it was the white with black font or black engraving. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, plus it's so much, it was just, the dimensions of it were better because we went landscape instead of portrait, and that was just like, this is great. So we used it, we put flowers around it. I asked our photographer to get a photo of it. I don't know, we haven't gotten it back yet because that'll be in August, but he took 1,000 photos, so I'm sure he did. Literally 1,000, so I'm sure he did, but we'll see. So in a crunch, you knocked out our seating board, which was custom, in it was like 15 hours.
Something like that, yeah.
Which is ridiculous because you have your orders on top of that anyways.
But let's
And
not
it's the two of
set
you.
that expectation that anyone that needs something within 15 hours can
But
reach out to
I'm
you.
How many
saying,
attempts did it take us? It took us 3 times. Was it to
It
do
did.
it?
It did, and 2 of them were my own fault. So Mike comes to me, and
It was a
this.
zoo.
Remember how you were saying what's next on your horizon,
Yeah.
right? So, next on the horizon was learning how to use the pass through with the laser. So the pass through, think of this table, right? The laser's X amount of inches wide, but if you open the front door and the back door, you can slide something through it. And that was something that I struggled with the CNC. The CNC was able to do it, but the software just didn't do it very well. So I could do things that were like, say, 60 inches long, but it didn't like doing it because they weren't always 100% accurate.
so what is that outcome? So dive into that, because if you have like this board, and then you have lines, they can't see that. So our chalkboard is a grid pattern. Basically, what you're saying is with the pass through, you're gonna have where the grids meet and make the actual point of the center. In a pass through, if it's the software is not keeping up with the laser, then it'll be off by like 1/8 of an inch.
Yep.
Okay, so the lines are off 1/8 of an inch, and then it throws off the entire design because the lines won't necessarily quote unquote connect.
Right.
Okay, so that's
You will definally notice that's how it was with the CNC. But because we're using laser beams, because I know you always like to joke with me about it. Because we're using laser beams, there's almost no. I mean, it's perfect, right?
Yeah.
And I'm super anal when it comes to things being perfect because I'm putting the work into it, right? And I don't want to put a crappy product out there. I don't want somebody to be like, it looks like he kind of tried.
Yeah, and you don't want people to come back and be
No.
like, this is bad. Can you make me another one? And you're like, oh, I got to do this again.
Right, exactly. I mean, I enjoy doing it, but I was like, Mike, I will make it work. Whatever has to happen, I will make it work. And it was actually, I had another order ahead of Mike's that Mike skipped the line for.
thank you.
And I was like, well, I'm supposed to learn this for this project, but I guess I'm learning it today. So with the pass-through, kind of how it works is you make a crosshair in the middle of the design, or maybe a quarter of the way through the design, however big it is, and you split it in half. And you say, okay, this half is going to go first, and then this half is going to go second. And you line up the crosshairs, and because it's a laser, it's dead on. With the CNC, it was a drill bit, and there was definitely a lot more room for error with that.
So when was the CNC used compared to the laser? Because I thought the laser was engraving, but is it both?
It's both. So the laser can engrave. So like if the camera can see this,
Yeah, you can hold it up. You're good.
the all the lettering and the text and the heart is all engraved. There's nothing that's raised or anything like that. It is all engraved. It's sad, but I almost don't use the CNC as much as I used to anymore because the laser is just so much more accurate. And we both joke about it because as much as we don't want to get rid of the CNC because it has its place, the laser is just
touched it in, like, 2
so
months.
much more
Yeah,
capable.
what would you use the CNC for that you wouldn't use the laser for?
Anything that needs to be like physically engraved where you need to see a lot of depth. And you don't
okay.
want it to be black because obviously when wood burns, what color does it turn?
Yeah.
It turns black, right?
So that E, the reason that you lasered that is because it's multiple layers and the depth is very thin on each layer. But if you wanted to get like a full board, like that'd be one layer, you would probably want to use the CNC because of how deep you needed to go.
Yeah, you could do a different like texture to it, but it definitely wouldn't be able to maintain the intricate ins and outs of the ridges that it has on the design.
Yeah, all the small details the CNC wouldn't be.
So how deep does the laser, are you comfortable with pushing the laser to on a normal?
I mean, I've really never checked the depth, but
Sure.
you can make it go deeper if you want by going multiple passes or using more power.
But it's basically more like a surface scratch, I
Yeah,
guess, more
absolutely.
than
So,
an
like,
engraving.
Yeah,
right?
so like the
Nailed it.
Oh, you just broke your
fine.
whiskey barrel.
It's fine. Leave.
It's just a ring. You're good.
So like with the tumblers are powder coated, so it's powerful enough to blow away the powder coating, and go straight to the stainless steel that's underneath it. So
That's really cool.
yeah.
Okay.
So I wish we would have brought it, but we can actually take. So one thing that we weren't able to do with our old laser that we come with a new one is pictures. Like real life pictures. So
okay.
you could send me a picture, a beautiful picture of the two of you in front of the table or something, or
There's no ugly one of us.
Right.
Go
That's
ahead.
true. All right, Nick, mark it down. We want it next Wednesday.
I wasn't making your 2021 Christmas ornament,
There you go. There you go.
So
oh my
you-
God, just our faces.
stepbrother style.
Yeah. Nose to nose.
With the new laser, it is just. I can't. I hate to talk about it so much, but it's just so much more accurate than the old one, and it's so easy. We've been asked a few times to do life. Hey, can you take this picture and put it on a piece of wood? And I've been able to do it with so much ease. It's unreal. I'm like,
People
really?
wanted their dogs, like
Yes.
their actual dogs, for over December when we were doing Christmas ornaments. We were just doing like silhouette pictures of a dog. People wanted their physical dog on the wooden ornament, and we didn't have the laser then, so we couldn't do it. We could only do like the silhouette of the dog. But now, this year, hopefully, we'll be able to do your actual. We can put Sam on an
Yeah.
ornament. Actually, Sam.
So if you guys
I'm
want
gonna
to
start
see
crying.
that, yeah, if you guys want to see an example of that, either go to their Instagram or go back on Wednesday, because if you guys can send us a picture of that, we'll put it in
Absolutely.
the promotion post for Wednesday, because that's pretty sweet. And I don't know many shops that do that. Like, what is this community in Buffalo?
I know one that can do that, and they're not even in the state. So you guys being able to do that local is like huge.
Yes, like what's the community for all of this work that you do in Buffalo? Is it a large community or is it relatively small still?
I know of a couple other shops that do kind of the same things that we do, but they don't have as broad of reach, right? So one shop I know, they're heavily focused on woodworking, and they focus on cutting boards and charcuterie boards and things like that.
Okay.
And I know they have some sort of CN machine that they're able to do engravings with, but they don't have a laser. Or Kevin, who joined us, had a CNC machine but didn't have a laser.
Sure.
I can't really think of too many others. I know there's a few people in Buffalo that have the same type of laser that we do, but they focus on like a specific niche, right? Like we only do drinkware. Like the guy that I talk with is in Lewiston, and I actually reached out to him like, hey man, your tumblers look great. I'm struggling with this. Can you give me a little bit of help? How did you do this? And he gave me some pointers, but he only focuses on like big batches of things, like hundreds of like,
Sure.
hey, we need 300 tumblers, and that's all he does for the week is 300 tumblers. He doesn't like to do things like, hey, I want to do this one-off sign or this, this nursery sign. So he's in a different market than we are. But there's really not too many that I know of. There's plenty of people that do Lisa's thing, but Lisa has a lot of versatility with being able to do dye sub, and she's now getting into colored bleaching, right?
Tie-dye, yep.
Tie-dye, which is cool because that's starting to come back.
Mhm.
That's making a comeback.
Yeah,
awesome.
it's growing up pretty big. And where can people find you as well? Just because Queen City Creative Works is very easy to find if you just Google it. But what are the other social media handles?
You can find us on Facebook, Queen City Creative Works. We have Instagram as
TikTok.
well. We have TikTok. We've
Trying to
recently
get there with
gotten
TikTok.
TikTok and trying to learn how to
It's
post
a
on there.
grind, man.
It is.
It's a grind.
It really is.
People don't understand, like, being a small business owner, you have to grind on social media. And it's so weird because,
Yes.
like, you're on Instagram and Facebook all day and TikTok grinding, but, like, you don't really want to be because you know how weird the environment of social media is. But we have to do it.
It's the only way you get out there.
I hate it.
I do too because
30 hashtags. It's like, Jesus, okay.
Yep.
I understand. It's wild. But like that's the algorithm of social media, and you have to keep grinding or else you get lost in the algorithm.
That or nobody. Well, yeah. If you get lost, nobody sees anything you
Yeah.
do. So it's just super frustrating, but everything's fine. We're having fun. So, QueenCityCreativeWorks.com, Queen City Creative Works on Instagram, Queen City Creative Works on Facebook, Queen City Creative Works on TikTok.
Gotta ask too, how is it like working with your significant other? Because I mean, we're basically the same. So
Yeah.
it's terrible.
Oh, I was gonna say it's great. Don't put me in the doghouse, Derek. I mean, yeah, it's got to be an interesting dynamic because your quote unquote pillow talk has got to just be like, "Did you finish those shirts? They got to ship tomorrow."
Basically.
You know, like, is Landon sleeping yet? Like, wake up, loser! Like, we gotta get off the couch. You know, like,
Well, we work from home together still. So we see each other literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week usually, plus the side business.
There's
We're
no free
literally
time.
Yikes.
All either in the garage always or in the basement doing something. He'll be sitting there and I'll be like, "Did you get this done yet? Because, you know, we have a bunch of orders." And he's like, "What?" I was like, "Did you get this done yet? Because we need this by like the end of the week." We have our moments where we bicker, but
Oh, I mean, a big milestone, right, is we've been working from home for a year and a half now, right? And we just had our 5-year anniversary.
haven't killed each other.
And we haven't killed each other.
Of being married.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so...
congrats, guys. That's huge.
Thank you.
It's wild.
Absolutely.
It's been 5 years already.
So we haven't killed each other. We haven't burned the house down with a laser or anything else. Multiple toaster ovens doing tumblers and things like that, and heat guns and torches and...
And we have yet to do like a full just hangout at the bar. That's been done since like, I don't know, 14 hours from owning your home.
Right.
Yeah. Derek takes credit for that
Yeah,
one.
hell yeah. Burn the bar, man. It's a good time.
I mean, we should at least sit at it.
Yeah,
Just
really.
be like, this is nice. I'm glad the lights still work.
So you guys is your goal to have any stock, like create something that is readily bought on your website, like a regular shirt that you can buy that says Queen City Creative Works on it? Like, is your goal to have stock, or do you pride you guys more on we are a like custom order shop?
I would like to be able to do weekly drops, like be able to have, I don't know, like 30, 40, however meant, like if this actually blows up, like I would like it to, it to, I would love to just be able to make 50 to 100 shirts, put them up on a drop, and
Sure.
they're gone. Like everybody buys them and that's it. Because if that's the case, you could do, I don't know, 10, 15 different designs and have a whole stock ready to go. And as soon as you do the drop, people go to the website, you buy it, bam, done.
Yeah.
I quit my day job.
Right, yeah.
I could do this full time.
Right now you guys are more of a we'll show you we can do something, but we're relying on you guys to order it. So
Right.
like if you post something like the Buffalo Happy Hour mug, people can't go to your website and order the Buffalo Happy Hour mug. So you guys are more of a made to order shop,
Yes.
right?
Well, right now we are,
Yeah.
yeah. That's where Kevin's really helping us out.
Sure.
Is we're building. So I was the delay on launching the website because I wanted to add more things to it, and I was like,
Figures, Nick.
He's like, so when do you want to launch the website? And I was like, July 1st, right? And July 1st rolls around. He's like, so it's July 1st. We launching this? I was like, well, it looks kind of kind of skimpy. I was like, let's add some more stuff to it. And Kevin's like, let's just do it. And Lisa's like, let's just do it. And I was like, all right, fine, guys. Let's go.
He's never going to be able to play catch up with how many pictures we have, so.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kevin's definitely working on getting designs that are meant to go on tumblers, and he's the one that's able to help us with Photoshop and do mock-ups and things like that, where, you know, I don't necessarily have to make it, but he can work his Photoshop magic to make it look like it is made. But yes, yeah, I definitely agree with Lisa. That's what I want to do. Right? I want to be able to run production on the laser and not always have to do, like, it's nice to do custom one-off things. It has its place, but you know, I really want to be able to say, hey, I ran the laser for 3 hours and I came back with 300 items. And that's really where we want to be. I'd like Lisa to be able to quit her day job at one point.
Right.
Well, if somebody wants one of these mugs, one of these tumblers, and they're like, we want to support both Queen City Creative Works and Buffalo Happy Hour, and they reach out to you on Messenger, where can you ship them? Because we have listeners all over the place.
Ship them anywhere.
Yeah, we can ship them anyway.
Yep.
Ship anywhere. So if you are interested in getting a tumbler, reach out to Queen City Creative Works. You can get it branded, and then that way they can basically start cranking tumblers, which it's not necessarily difficult. It's not going to take a ton of time.
Nope.
They're easy to ship. A lot of shipping is associated with weight. So these being super light, it'll actually work out in the favor of the shipping side of things in regards to price. But
And you can also do coasters too.
and coasters. I'm just trying to think of like simple
Yeah.
things where people are like, I want to, support both businesses just because Queen City has done so much to get us off the ground as a brand in regards to certain things we have, including this table that we use literally every single week. So I'm just trying to, have our listeners have some avenue of they're like, I want to support both businesses.
So how does somebody order? Is there an order form on the website, or do you prefer them just reaching out to you via Instagram or Facebook?
So with the website, there is a custom order. So we have listings that are set up for specific products. Like if you want a personalized tumbler, there's a way to get a hold of us and say, hey, there isn't a specific image or whatever that we were looking for. Can you do it? And they can reach us that way. Same thing with shirts. We're working on getting different things like, hey, instead of t-shirts or mugs or tumblers, I'm looking for a customized ornament or coaster, because we also do slate coasters instead of wood coasters.
It's a little dirty.
Another thing that we're going to be doing soon is craft supplies. So the same supplies that we order in bulk, since we've taken the risk of getting it wholesaled to us and wait months for us to get them, the craft industry is pricey, right? In order to get a good wholesale price, you need to order in big bulk. We're talking thousands of tumblers, not just 20 or 30, thousands. And we've already taken that risk and jumped into it. So very soon we will have tumbler supplies that can be sublimated on, and will
500 to be exact.
Yeah, I got to figure out where I'm going to put these.
Well, we can start with this because this is actually coming up quick. Reach out to your website and say, I want a BHH tumbler, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Now, are there colors? Are all 500 the same color tumbler?
Right now, the 500 that are coming in are white, and we can make them any color because they'll be on the printer. But those ones specifically, they come in 17 different colors, and I can get
Crazy.
them in 2 days, and we plan to buy them in bulk.
Okay.
But yeah, there's 17 different colors. They come in pilsners. They come
cool.
in wine. They come in little wine tumblers. We can also get growlers too. There was a locally. What's that?
The koozies you put the can in.
Oh, yep. We can do leather koozies. We can do, pretty much you name it that you can personalize one way or another. We found a really good wholesale supplier that's really been able to open up our markets into different things that we want to do.
That's really cool.
Oh, yeah. Was there anything that we didn't touch on that you guys wanted to? I do want to talk about this. I don't know if this is public yet, so if you guys aren't doing this yet, let me know. But the heat transfer cup that turns different colors when you heat.
Oh, yeah, we did that for you guys because we haven't done it before.
You just sent that. Can we talk about that,
Yeah,
or are we
let's
not
go.
talking about
Let's
that?
do
Okay,
it.
so
I'll let Lisa talk. I've done enough talking.
what is it, and how do you even do it? this one is it?
Yes,
Look at
this
that.
is it. You can't see it
logo
because
on that, dude.
it's cold.
Oh, you can still kind
But
of see
once
it.
you put hot water in it, this will turn white and you'll be able to see your logo on it. I know back in December you had mentioned something about coffee cups, and
Yeah.
we were like, well, why don't we try color changing ones? We've never done it before. I had no idea if it would work or not. So I was like, hey, I'll get 2 and see what happens. So once you asked us to come on here, I was like, why don't I just try it now? He gave me the logo when I did the vinyl cutout for you. I also printed out one of these. You use heat tape and put it on the cup, and then you put it in the mug press for like 400 degrees. And then once you take it out after 20 to 30 seconds or whatever, you take the image off, and then it was there. And then I was waiting to see if it was going to turn black because it stayed white. It stayed white a little too longer than I thought, but it ended up. He told me to put cold water in it, so I put cold water in it, and it turned black.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, it's really cool. So when are these basically going to be available?
No.
Oh yeah.
Let's go.
Yes,
Now that I can do it.
Buy a coffee mug that our logo just appears in, like Hogwarts, and then buy a tumbler and support everybody, because it's really now this
Or a Buffalo Happy Hour bumper sticker. That's what that is right there. That's going on my car, bro.
Buffalo Happy Hour bumper sticker.
Yeah, it's gonna go right on my back windshield.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that do that with stickers that they got for merchandise.
That's what I'm saying.
So now we got actual bumper stickers.
Go for it.
Look at that.
All right.
It's like we're official or something.
We're trying to figure it out, man.
So the only thing we really didn't touch on was wholesale. So with the laser, there's a lot of things that crafters that don't really want to be a small business, but they enjoy doing one-off things for either family members or small gatherings and things like that, where they don't want to do what we did and said, hey, we either need to make a decision. We need to do this as a hobby, or we need to do this as a small business and be serious about it, right? So with the laser, and this is great because there's always scraps, and wood's not cheap anymore, right? Let's be honest. You guys just built the studio.
It's terrible.
With the laser, when it's slow, I want to be able to provide stock for other shops. So whether it be ornaments that are laser cut and ready, instead of buying from Amazon and they might not be the greatest quality, or they're lopsided or something like that, or they look like they came from Wish, right? You can support us, a local company, and I can guarantee you that if something's wrong, I will definitely make it up to you, and I'll get you exactly what you need, but provide blanks, whether it's ornaments or tumblers or shirts. That's the avenue that we're working on next. Is we're deciding if we're going to just offer it on our website as an option to buy supplies from us wholesale, or if we set up like a Facebook group and then help the community and do what you guys are doing, like help other small businesses grow, where we could provide our input on the years of struggle or headaches that we've gone through to help other people become like us.
Sure.
That's what we're working on next.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right. So thank you guys very much for your time today. It was great.
Thank you for having us.
Your Instagram, just so people can look at it again. What's your Instagram and your website?
It is queencitycreativeworks.com, and Instagram should also be Queen City Creative Works. I hate that it's so long. And I'm the one that came up with it, right? Partially. I think the only variant is Facebook, because it was too long. I think City is CTY.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's the only difference. But they're all the same. TikTok, we're starting to pump out the content on there. Lisa's been helping out with that a lot.
Well, everybody go check them out on all their social media. They can literally do whatever you want. Like, don't be shy in asking them for something, because they'll be able to do it.
We'll figure it out.
For the most part, yeah.
Essentially.
100%. Thank you guys very much for your time. We appreciate it. And take care. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you.
Cheers.